The Strangers Chapter 1 is the new movie by Renny Harlin. This is a soft reboot of the movie The Strangers, which came out back in 2008, had a sequel in 2018, and both of these movies were pretty bad. But hear me out. This is interesting. So, The Strangers Chapter 1 is the first of a trilogy that supposedly we are getting all this year. And next year, director Renny Harlin, who I didn't really know who he was, but he's got some bangers underneath his belt clearly. He is going to be editing a 4.5-hour version of this trilogy to be released on its own. So who wouldn't want to be a part of a cinematic event like this? I really actually find it cool, all jokes aside. Kevin Costner's doing the same thing with his Horizon movie, and while for me, this has been kind of a disappointing year for horror, I will say this is a creative idea to get people to visit the theater, but whoa, this movie is strikingly awful. I am at a loss for words, honestly. Forget spending money on this. Was this worth the AMC A-list slot of this week? I really don't know. That was what I was thinking about a lot during this movie. This movie follows a young couple played by Madeline, Petsch, and Froy, Gutierrez. They are in Venus, Oregon. They rented an Airbnb cabin, and after 30 or 40 minutes of, I guess, looking over what Venus, Oregon is, we finally get the strangers that come into the house, and things kind of get interesting. This movie also opens with an eerie statistic on how often violent crimes happen in our world. We get hit with this title that says at least 7 has happened since the start of this movie. Some fourth wall breaking right off the bat. So when reading something like that, I assume we are about to get into a very disturbing story on something that could be loosely based on a true event. Oh wow, this movie has the emotional complexity of a brick wall. There is nothing to connect to here. Both these main characters, I mean, they look attractive enough for each other, but they're pretty much just models. At no point in this movie did I care of what was going to happen to them. If anything, with how lazy and predictable a lot of these setups are, I was hoping for a left turn, which really never happens. It's funny how I only saw the first Strangers movie one time when it came out, and I was able to kind of make the parallels between these two. These movies are eerily similar. And while this movie could have picked up on it being in the digital age now, it doesn't even do that besides the mention of Airbnb from time to time. The acting is really bad. The characterization, I mean, it's a horror movie, but still abysmal. How are the kills? Well, I'll just put this out there. There's really only 2 people in this movie besides the strangers themselves, and they're all lackluster and unimportant. I will say I like that the original strangers design, the same masks that they wear, continues on this one. And after leaving the theater, I'm still intrigued by this chapter 2 and 3 that we're going to be getting by the end of this year. Even if this movie is the worst movie I've seen this year, I want to be a part of history still. But wow, I really don't know what kind of mindset one has to be in to walk into this movie and somehow enjoy it. I know there's a lot of fuss with people using their phones in the cinema, but if you don't pull out your phone at some point in this movie because you are way too compelled with what is going on screen, then I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, that's psychotic enough. I would give this movie 2.7. It is released by Lionsgate and it is playing everywhere May 17th. Thank you so much for watching.